right, guys. Welcome back. We're about to get filthy. We've officially entered the cleaning stage of this project. So this morning, I took a little bit of time, stripped everything off the engine that I'm not really looking to paint or get stuff on. Paint some of it, but not all of it. So the engine's pretty well down to where it needs to be. I've sealed up everything that I don't want water getting into. That's like 5 layers of tape, so should be good there. Plugged the fuel lines, plugged the vacuum lines. We've got the clutch and flywheel pretty well sealed up. And I think we're ready to start degreasing this guy. Now the grease on that engine is, it's thick, it's nasty. So we're gonna be using a product I got on sale. Because, you know, when you've got a really nasty heavy duty job, you go the cheap route, right? I don't know about you guys, but that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to do this whole swap on a shoestring. This stuff might actually be pretty good. I don't really know a whole lot about it. We're gonna try it out and I'll let you guys know. Ooh, it's biodegradable. Look at that. That makes me skeptical immediately. Oh, but we do have the danger sign, so maybe it is good after all. We'll find out. Before we get to spraying this guy, I'm actually just gonna get into corners like this and try to knock off a bunch of the, you know, the heavy stuff. Just that way, you know, the degreaser can kind of focus on the grease and not all that crap. So it pays to go over this thing maybe once by hand and just get all the gunk off of it that you can, whether you're using screwdrivers to scrape into the little areas or a wire brush or, you know, an actual chisel. It really pays, because look at how much crap came off of this thing. And that's just with like 3 minutes and a screwdriver and a little chisel and a wire brush. So yeah, definitely worth the time to prep. You have to remember your paint is only as good as your prep work. And not that I'm going for any kind of perfection here. I mean, the Suburban's not perfect either. I'm just looking to, you know, make it nice. Make it nicer than it is. So there you go. Let's get into spraying this thing. Before we spray, do a little squirt down. Really want to pay attention to these grimy areas here. So one coat is on there. I think I got it pretty thoroughly. It's gross. It's starting to drip. I mean, it's not like stuff is melting off of it, but you know, I just got it on there. We're probably gonna let this guy sit for a little bit, soak for a little bit, and then we're coming at it with a pressure washer. So I just finished up the first blast and holy crap, guys, I am pleasantly surprised. I don't know if it's the pressure washer or if it's that super clean stuff I'm using, but like there's no grease on that at all. That's just like ugly cast iron corrosion. And in here, like that's just, there's no grease. It's actually dry. Here, I'll show you guys. I'll grab a rag. Wow, I am impressed though. So here, I'll find the cleanest part on the rag. You can see that's relatively clean. I'm gonna go right in this dirty corner here. Still comes back, well, I mean, it's got gunk on it, but you know, a couple more pressure washes, that'll be fine. I've gone over this thing probably about 3 times total now, and man, it's shockingly clean. Like, It's actually really nice. There's no oil or grime or any kind of residue left on it. It's really, really impressive. So I'm just gonna get in the nooks and crannies with the little microfiber towel, and then I think we're ready to actually start priming this thing, which is incredible. I didn't think we were gonna get here today, but you know, there's still some sun out, which is nice. And yeah, let's just keep going. Pound it out. What we're gonna use to prime this thing too might shock you guys. Tremclad. Can't remember what it's called in the US, but you know, you get it at your hardware store. This stuff is actually really, really impressive. So the primer is what I tend to prime most of my truck stuff with. Believe it or not, underneath the Suburban's paint, the first coat that I put down on the metal is actually that Tremclad primer. Here we go. Gonna get some primer on this bad girl right here. And the thing to remember is we're not going for perfection. Actually, not perfection at all by any means, by any stretch. We're just trying to make it look better. That way when you pop the hood, it doesn't look like we just dropped this thing in, even though that is kind of what we're doing. But, you know, I want it to look okay. This truck has paint on it now. May as well paint the motor, especially if it's out here on a stand like this. So let's get into it. Okay guys, so we're all primed and ready to go. Let this guy cure overnight. I didn't get any footage of the finished product yesterday just because my phone died. But yep, let it cure overnight. Paint seems to have hardened up, or primer seems to have hardened up pretty good. We're working inside today because we've got very nasty weather outside. And it's just miserable. It's like raining sideways. So we're inside today, and it's gonna be close quarters, so bear with me on this. Just wanted to show you guys too. So on smooth surfaces like stamped steel, you definitely get a little bit of texture when you're brushing it on. You know, like these valve covers, there's a little bit of texture. You can, if you look close, you can kind of see some brush marks and stuff like that. But as far as this primer goes on, you know, textured surfaces like the actual head or the block, it's incredible. It's really nice stuff, really durable, super cheap. I think it was like 25 bucks for a can, and you know, maybe you went through a third of the can painting this entire engine, and it's a big, big engine to do. So, and I was kind of globbing it on too. You could probably be a little bit more conservative and do more, but you get the idea. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Are we trying to make it perfect? Absolutely not. Just trying to make it one color. That way it doesn't, you know, stick out like a sore thumb in the truck. It actually looks kind of decent in there. So that's where we're at. Same process as yesterday, just with paint this time. So let's get into it. Here's a little bit of a preview of the color we're going. And it might seem like an oddball color for a Cummins engine, but the idea is that back in the 70s when GM was putting small blocks in their truck like the Suburban, a lot of the small blocks were this weird blue color. And that's kind of the idea that I'm chasing. You know, obviously this isn't a small block, this is a Cummins, so it's a little bit different, but at least in my mind, I'm like trying to bring it back to be super retro. So Retro industrial is kind of the vibe we're going with here, and that's why we're just brushing on some crazy industrial paint, and that's why we're going with a retro blue small block color. So there you have it, guys. Painted engine. Came out pretty good. Is it perfect? Definitely not. Just like the primer, you know? Paint's only as good as your prep work, but I'll tell you guys what, it looks so much better. Little frustrated with the way the, you know, stamped steel and stuff came out. You can see there's brush marks up there, but as far as the block looks, this trim clad is made for that. In the US, it's Rust-Oleum, by the way. Remember the name. But pretty good overall. Should be super durable. I was thinking if I ever wanted to in the future make these look better, they sell the same color in an aerosol can, so I could sand these smooth and actually give them a spray finish. Honestly though, being that this engine's just going in a camping truck, off-road truck, you know, I'm not too worried. This is as good as it's ever gonna look. So, I mean, not a ton of effort. Yes, it took time, but not bad. I freshened up the accessories a little bit. I still left some chips and stuff in here just so, you know, nothing's too obvious. Everything kind of looks like it should. Had a little black kicking around anyways, but man, I gotta say, I am pleased with how it came out. You know, it's definitely nothing fancy and it's a weird color for a Cummins, but you know, I think it'll be a good color inside of that engine bay. So I'm pretty pleased. Pretty pleased. Morning, guys. We got another beautiful day here. Like, it's gorgeous out. Look at that sunshine. It feels so nice. Today we're gonna be cleaning up this transmission and transfer case. My plan is to do some seals. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I think this guy might have been leaking a little bit. I mean, not a ton at all. It's pretty clean. Yeah, not really. This thing is filthy. Like, it's the most disgusting of everything I pulled out of the parts truck. So this is gonna be a big job today, especially considering the Cummins is still tying up the lift cherry picker. So I have to move this guy around by hand, and this stuff is not light. So I think motorcycle jack should do it, but I can't even get it out of this tire. Might end up taking the transfer case off first, but I mean, that relies on me actually being able to see the bolts under the grease that's caked on there. So I mean, I really don't know. I'm just gonna start getting into this thing and we'll see how we end up. All right, that was a job getting this thing on the motorcycle lift. Time for another little prep, a little bit of prep work here, taking grease off this guy. And we'll bust out the big nasty, big old power washer. This is so bad. I don't even know if it's worth my time scraping at it. I might just hit it with the pressure washer and see if it can take the gunk off, because like these nooks and crannies, just nightmares. So maybe I can blast that stuff out. We'll see. There you have it, guys. That was gross. It was really gross, but check this out. There's actually a transmission and a transfer case underneath all that grime. I am really, really shocked. I honestly didn't think I was gonna find this equipment under there. I figured it was just a ball of dirt and I was gonna spray it away to nothing. I am soaked, but the transmission and transfer case is really nice and clean. I'm pretty sure I found out which seal was leaking. I believe it was this guy, and that would make sense given that this whole area was the grossest part of it. My reason to believe that is while I was pressure washing in there, this guy popped out, said hello, look at me. So I think that's the seal we're gonna do. The next step is figuring out which seal that actually is in this pile of seals that came in this box of mystery parts that came with the parts truck when I bought it. So we're gonna have to figure that one out. First things first though, let's get this transfer case off the transmission. We're gonna do that by rolling around in some dirt. Oh yeah! Back again. Spent the afternoon doing seals on this transfer case, and as you can see now, we got her in primer, and transmission is in primer too, so things are coming along. We'll get some paint on this stuff, and then I think I can actually take a break for a few days. Well, there you have it. Everything is blue. It's just trim clad. It's not amazing paint, but you know what? It is so much cleaner, and it is gonna look so much better inside of the truck. But I'm stoked. I mean, why not have clean parts in your truck as opposed to, you know, ratty old rusty, scungy, covered in oil, gross stuff. Should be a lot easier to work on. Should be easier to identify where more leaks are coming from, and I'm sure there's going to be more leaks. It's just the way things are with these old trucks, but especially with Cummins, as everybody knows. But man, how can you not be happy? Seriously, everything looks good. Also, my apologies if the footage is a little choppy here. By no means am I a professional YouTuber or anything like that. I'm just a guy trying to do a swap and taking you guys along for the ride. Probably going to let that cure for probably about 4 days as well. And then we can start, you know, reassembling here. So I'll get the transfer case onto the transmission. And I don't think I'm going to get the transmission and transfer case onto the engine. Just don't think this poor old engine hoist is going to be able to lift everything at once. I think the engine's going to go on the truck separately. I think transmission and transfer case are going to go in the truck together. That's my plan right now. We'll see how it goes. The next part of this series is going to be ripping apart the Suburban. So once again, you know, now that everything in here is clean and my hands are actually a little bit cleaner, I'm going to have to get filthy one more time. So all a part of the process. Hope you guys are enjoying this so far. Stay tuned. We're going to get into the burb next, and that's when things are going to get exciting. So stay with me.